Hi everyone, it's Kelly from Kelly's Bead Boutique. So I've been making and teaching how to make jewelry for a very long time now. And one of the things that I hear all the time is, you make it look so easy. Well, that's because I think it is. So I'm going to take some simple parts and some simple techniques, and I'm going to teach you how to make your very own jewelry. So if you want to see what I'm making today, come and join me. All right, so let's get started on these quick and easy earrings. So I often get asked, how do I come up with my ideas? Well, right now, because we're in clearance mode, we're kind of going through literally everything in the store until we move over to online only. And I found these the other day, and I've used them in a couple other projects, but we only had just, enough for like about 32 pairs of earrings or something like that. And so I thought maybe I'll clear them out. And I thought, no, you know what? I actually like these. I think they're a really cool looking design feature. So what can I create with them instead of clearing them out? So I just grabbed a bunch of parts and I started playing around with it. Now I didn't like my first nor my second, design of this, but once I added something else, it completely changed it, and I really, really like how it turned out. So for me, it's just playing around with parts, coming up with something, maybe changing it 2 or 3 times, and then settling in on what I like the most. So, it's not really scientific. It's just how I create things. Just sort of keep playing until I'm happy with what I have. So for this pair of earrings today, we're going to be using a little bit of 20 gauge silver wire. It's just a soft craft wire. I've got some Tira cast ear wires. I also have two of their little heart charms. We also have some of their 8mm hammer tone bead caps. And then I have these other little bead caps. I have a 6x8 rondelle, and I believe that this one is ABD034. Everybody's always asking me to include part numbers on things. I don't think we have many left. We might have 2 strands left, but I'm going to try and get some more in. And then I have these little hammered discs. And for our tools, we're going to be using our 4 basic tools: our bent chain nose pliers, our round nose pliers, and our cutters. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut myself some wire. Now I used this 20 gauge on this one because I wanted it to be a little beefier looking. I tried it with 22 and it just didn't have, the look that I was going for. Now the other thing that I found when I was making these is that I wanted to have a little bit longer piece of wire because I want to have a lot of ease in doing my wraps, because I want my wraps to look a certain way. So I found by having a little bit more, it helped. So this is probably like 6 or 7 inches. This will be available in kit form. It's going to be limited for the time being until I can maybe get a hold of a couple more parts. But so you would get plenty of wire in your kit. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I place my finger sort of halfway down, and that sort of tells me about where my beads would sit. So I know that I can work on either side and I will have plenty of wire. So I'm going to go just above that. Let me just move some of these other tools out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to tilt my wire so that it's up and down, and I'm going to take my thumbnail and and press it against the wire. What I want to create is that nice sharp bend there. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to go up the barrel. Now I have a long nose pair of pliers, so yours are probably going to look something more like that. So make sure you go up enough. We need a large enough hole to make this all work here. So you don't want to go down here and create a little teeny tiny hole, because then this is not going to work. So we want to go up our pliers a little bit. So I'm going to go up and over and then use my thumb and go straight down. And now I'm going to open up my pliers and rotate them so they're parallel to the table. And now this little tail in the front, I'm going to pull it straight back. And I'm pulling hard against the tools, so I'm actually using the tool. So what we want is something that looks like a lollipop, and that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to give it a slight rotation and pull that little arm down. So that's what we want to have, a really nice loop. If you don't do that 90-degree turn, you'll end up with something that looks a little softer, not really a nice sharp look. And I really like something that looks nice and crisp. That's just my thing. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is grab hold of one of my charms, and I am going to put the wire through there. And I just take it and separate it with my fingernail. and then I'm going to put it through this disc. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this so that the tail is on the top and the long piece is down on the left there, and I'm going to kind of muscle my pliers in there, and I'm going to wrap this with my hand because I want to have a nice tight wrap. So I went around once, and then I went around twice, and now I'm going to go backwards. So if I use my hand, I can get a pretty good wrap in there. If you really just can't, some people just don't have the strength, just grab the very tip of the wire. Don't grab down here because you'll destroy your wire. So grab up here and pull it around, and then you want to take that all the way to the back. So I did 2 down and 2 or 3 back, or sorry, I did 2 up, and then you want to go 2 or 3 back down. What I'm trying to create is that nice big beefy wrapped look, but I want to make sure to end my wire in the back. You don't necessarily want to see that in the front. Now I'm going to take my cutters, and using the flush side, I'm going to come in here, and as close as I can, I'm going to trim that off. And I always hold onto that little piece of wire so it doesn't go flying in our eyes or in our hair or something like that. Now I want to turn this and see if I need to tuck in that little burr. So it's hard to probably see, but it's right on the end there, and it looks pretty good, but I'm just going to take my pliers on the very end and just give it the tiniest of little smushes. It doesn't need very much. So that's what we have so far. Now you can see that that fits on there absolutely perfectly, and I just loved how that just kind of worked out. If you use too small of a hole there, it's going to, pull up, and it's not going to look right. So make sure that the loop that you make is large enough. All right, so now we're going to start stacking. So this is one of the things that I did to make this look just a little bit nicer. I played around with it a bit, and finally when I did this extra step, it looked really cute. So I'm going to stack a couple different bead caps on. Now these ones have a small hole, so in your kit, if you get it, you may have to cut this on an angle and kind of push it through because those holes are a little on the small side. So I'm putting one of the silver ones on first, and then I'm putting on one of the antique brass, and then one of our beautiful check glass rondelles, and then I'm going back to one of the brass ones and then back to the little silver one. And you can see just by doing that, it adds just a little more interest, and it kind of ties all the colors together. When I did it without that silver on there, I can see if I can pull it off and show you. It was okay. It was kind of boring. So I added that little extra there, and it just made it perfect for me. Like, I don't know, maybe everybody would like it without that, but for me, it just gave that little extra touch that it needed. All right, so now we're going to wrap our top loop. So what I want to do is not create a neck because this sort of style doesn't have much of a neck. So I'm going to hold it towards me this way, and then I'm going to pull it straight on itself. So it doesn't have to be super sharp, but I want to have a nice 90-degree bend there. And now when we take our round nose pliers and go in there, we're not going to have a lot of room, but I want to go down. I don't need that same big loop, so I'm going to go down a little bit. And you can see we've got a little bit of room there, but we're going to be able to repair that later. So up and over and straight down, open those pliers, rotate them. Now I'm going to pull that straight to the back. Now when I see if I can get in here so you can see how far that is over, and that's because we couldn't get in there. So now all I'm doing is rotating that until it comes right up on the top, and then I pull that down, and now it's created that loop that I want. It does need a little bit more of an adjustment, so it's just hard to do it under the camera and showing you, but I'm just pulling it over a little bit, and now it's sitting exactly where I want. Now I can see it's a little bit off here, but I can tweak all that after. Okay, so now it's sitting exactly where I want it. I'm going to come right across with my pliers. Never just hold on like that because you'll wreck that beautiful loop you just made. So I'm going to go straight across, and then I'm going to wrap. Now, you're not going to have much of a neck, so you can just go down a couple times and then come back up. Now, these aren't necessarily going to be the neatest of wraps on the top because we don't have a lot of working room, but just do your best and you can get them kind of stacked up. I just like to have everything neat and tidy. That's kind of how I roll. But if you really dig that messy look, then go for it. All right, give that a little trim. And now I'm going to come in here. Now there's not a lot to hold on to. So this is where these come in handy again. The bent chain nose pliers are great. So now you can kind of come in and give that a little smush down. And there we go. Okay, so now we've got our piece made, but we're going to have to do some little adjustments. I can see that this is sort of tipping over a bit. So I just come in with my pliers and give it a little bend down so that it's nice and straight. And then you can kind of come in and just sort of tweak anything that needs to be sort of realigned. And that's what the pliers are great for. Don't use your round nose pliers because that'll just make dents in it. But there we go. Now I'm going to take my ear wire and open that up. And then I'm going to pop that on there and do that up nice and tight. And I do that by jiggling back and forth. All right, so I'm just going to make my second one off camera and I'll be right back. So there we go. There's our adorable pair of earrings. I love these so much that I could not wait to get them in my ears yesterday. I put them on and ran to the mirror in the bathroom and I was like, oh my goodness, I absolutely love these. I think it's the contrast of the two tones of metal. We've got a little bit darker antique brass, and then we've got the pop of the bright silver on there, and then this beautiful sort of mirror, a mirror wash or whatever they call it. I love that on the check glass. It just looks really striking. So as I said before, these will be available in kit form. You just go down to the description box below this video and it will take you to my website at www.kelliesbeadboutique.com. Make sure you spell Kelly with an IE, and there'll be a link that will take you to my fully secure website. Have a look around on the website right now. We have some really great deals. I add stuff to the clearance page just about daily. I've also been doing lots of mystery boxes. People are always asking, well, how do I get a mystery box? Because they're always sold out. Well, that's because as soon as I put them on, they sell out within an hour or two. I just put a bunch in on Friday and they were gone within, I think, maybe 3 hours. So they do take me a little bit of time to create, so I make them as I can. Now you're probably wondering, well, okay, well, what is a mystery box? Well, as I said at the beginning of the video, because we are moving to an online-only format in a couple months, we're clearing out all sorts of stuff that never really made it to the website. You know, I've been in business a long time and I have a lot of stuff, and sometimes I just didn't have time to get it on the website. So that's kind of my criteria right now. It's like, you know, maybe some check glass that I bought that I loved and got up on the wall really fast, but it never hit the website. So those sort of things. There's, you know, findings and beads and check glass and all sorts. I mean, you name it. I've had wood beads and silk and leather and all kinds of suedes and cotton cording and just everything. So I load these boxes up. Usually they have about $225 worth. They have at least 200, but you know, sometimes I'm feeling really generous. So somewhere between $200 and $225 worth of beads or whatever I throw in there, and you only pay $50. In the United States, you're going to pay $6.99 shipping, and in Canada, you'll pay $12.99 shipping. Now, this does cost me money out of my own pocket because the shipping is so horrendous right now, but I'm kind of doing it for fun, just something so that you guys can think outside the box. I add all sorts of things in there, stuff that you may never have seen before, and some things that you just don't know what to do with, but it's going to make you have a little bit of a design challenge. Like, what are you going to do with this? So they're lots of fun. I get lots of positive comments saying, oh my gosh, there was some really cool stuff in there. So keep watching for the mystery boxes because I load them up as soon as I get them done. And I'm hoping to get a few more this week. So anyway, so there you go. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I always love to hear from everybody. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you do so, as it really does help me out. And we're getting closer to that 100,000 goal I have this year. You know, we're only at 85,000 pretty much, but it's creeping up there, and I do appreciate all the support I've had in the last little while. When I asked you to, you know, make sure that you subscribe, you guys really rose to the challenge, so I do appreciate it. So I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you on the next one.